I've been trading for about 4 years now, and I have a pretty good system down, which means little effort with a lot of results. The only way that you're going to have a little effort with a lot of results is if you build a system yourself. So this is my 5-step process that will help you build your own system and just become profitable overall. Step number 1, find an edge. Now, an edge is basically just like a working strategy, a profitable strategy. There's honestly a lot of bullshit out there, so you got to be careful with what you go for. But majority of strategies are going to be based off of either mean reversions or trend following. I'm personally a swing trader and like a trend follower. I mean, you guys see that it works for me. I'm able to get thousands and thousands of percents out of these options trades. But as long as you can figure out something that works for you, then it works for you. So whether that's going to be day trading, swing trading, mean reversions, or trend following, it's really up to you. But you have to find some sort of edge. Without an edge, you're basically going to have just about the same luck as if you were to walk into a casino. Number 2, replicate the success. There's a quote that I really liked from Isaac Newton. It was something like, "If I have seen further than others, it is from standing on the shoulders of the giants." And basically what he means from that is like, it's not he went out and invented something crazy, but rather learn from other people who have already learned before him, so that shortcutted his process. You really don't have to come up with anything new. All you have to do is study the people who have already done what you want to achieve, and then you can achieve it as well. That way they can just tell you all the mistakes that they went through and basically give you the full blueprint right away, and you'll be able to avoid all those mistakes and hopefully learn a lot quicker that way. Number 3, take your time. There's way too many of you guys that come into this thinking you're going to be rich overnight or rich next week, and that's just simply not the case. Majority of people underestimate what they can do in a decade, but overestimate what they can do in a year. So if you can just set a 10-year goal for yourself and then work towards that 10-year goal in little steps, that'll be so much better. Another thing with taking your time relates a lot to how I trade, because I'm a swing trader and a trend follower. Like right now, you guys know the market isn't really trending up, so there's not a lot that I can do. So I already know that it's going to take me multiple years to get to where I want to be. Now taking my time just kind of ties into like taking my time and being patient, really waiting for those setups to come to me rather than trying to hunt it down and speed up the process. If you're trying to speed up success, you will literally only speed up failure. There is no shortcut to this, and you're just gonna have to take your time. I mean, there's definitely ways to save time, like we went over in number 2, where it's like replicate the success. Because if there's someone who's already doing better than you or has already achieved the outcome that you want to achieve, you can follow from them and, shortcut a lot of that time, but it's still going to take you some time. Number 4, know when to increase your risk or decrease your risk. So the main thing here would be knowing when your setup works versus when it doesn't. You might see some people on Twitter or StockTwits, wherever you look at, that type of trading stuff, that they'll be like, oh, risk on or risk off. And risk off would just mean that the market doesn't allow them to trade that setup, so they're not going to be risking money because it's a very low chance that they're going to get a reward from that risk. And then risk on would just be the opposite of that. Knowing when your setup works versus when it doesn't has to be one of the most important things that I can tell you guys. When I first started trading, I struggled with this so much, and I was just like, oh, every setup I see, I'm going to take. I didn't understand that there was so many different times where it works versus when it doesn't. And once I figured that out, I definitely started making a lot more money. Number 5, rinse and repeat or compound. So once you have a working system and you know you're profitable, all you have to do is do the same thing over and over and over again. The same way that you make your first $1,000 profit is the same way you're going to make your first million. And really getting to that million is the hardest, but making tens of millions after that is just doing the same thing you did to get to that first million. People often ask me like, oh, how much do you withdraw? How often do you withdraw? Whatever it is. And I say I try to withdraw the least amount possible because I want my account to compound. Everyone knows in investing, the more you have, the more you make. So, if you start off rich, you're going to end up richer quicker, I guess you could say. But when you start off with nothing, it's really hard to climb up that exponential growth chart because you have those first few years where it's going to be really slow, and it just really starts to take off once it compounds. I'll throw in a little bonus tip for you guys. If you want to get good at anything, all you have to do is learn from the people who are better than you. It's that simple. Like the same way that I got good at video games is the same way I got good at trading. You guys probably know this and I say it all the time, but back when I used to play video games, I would just watch the best players, adapt their play style into mine, and then learn from my own mistakes. Like you'll be able to figure out what works for you and what doesn't, but once you have that base, it just makes it so much easier. So if you guys are struggling to become profitable or find an edge or just anything at all you have to do is look up US Investing Champions, because that'll give you a list of some of the top traders of all time and that are verified and have actually made a lot of money, and then just see what they have to say. It's not that difficult. Once you see what they have to say, you can basically just copy their entire strategy and put your own twist on it, because you will run into issues still, but then you'll also be able to figure out what works for you. And that way you'll save a lot of time, a lot of money, and you'll just get to the end result a lot easier and quicker than if you were to just completely try on your own from scratch. But yeah, I guess that about wraps it up for this video. If you guys want free trade alerts, be sure to follow my Twitter. It's It's literally completely free. I post majority of my trades on there. And I also post, little rants, helpful tips, chart analysis, post like different setups that I see, and just talk a lot about how I trade. So maybe you can learn from me there as well as get those free alerts. But yeah, if you guys do want that, that'll be linked below in the description. And then also comment below, let me know what you want my next video to be on, or something that you're really interested in, like some sort of video that you really want next.